Evan, looking at some of the market figures at the moment, looking pretty good. Some economists are actually saying too that the ASX could hit about 8,000 points by Christmas. Are you that confident?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those people come out there. It's not about confidence, it's about how you get there. And what I mean by that is that if you look at the ASX, it's about 13, possibly now you can make an argument that 15 stocks really drive the actual overall index. Because don't forget, it's the collective of all top 200 companies in this country. And realistically, you can probably boil down to the big 15 that are really the big drivers. So the big four banks, Rio, BHP, CSL, Telstra, Woolies. You could also probably now throw in there Wesfarmers as well. They need to move. They're the ones that have to get there. Now, if you look at the big four banks, for instance, and you look at somebody like CommBank, they're actually at record highs. So to get to 8,000 points, it's a little bit less, but almost 800 more points than where we are today after making a record all-time high yesterday and a record closing high. And we will go up again today. That itself was about 9% of the index, would have to do some incredible lifting. So what would drive CBA to probably grow to get to 8,000 points by another 10 or so percent? That would have to be a housing market that is obviously booming, but actually sees loan growth. Loan growth is pretty anemic at the moment in terms of what we're seeing out of the banks. It means also that an ANZ, for example, which had not a great reporting season, and is showing that it's losing itself to the other three, and probably actually across the banking space, would have to reverse that trend. So I'm still, don't get me wrong, I'm still positive on what's coming, because when you've got the amount of fiscal support and the amount of monetary support that our market has and across the globe, it's going to push markets higher. But to get to 8,000 by Christmas, something pretty amazing is going to have to happen.
All right. Now, Evan, retail sales and the trade balance coming up today. Is it likely to be more good news? This is off the back of the Treasurer's figures yesterday. Yeah,
it is, and the Treasurer will probably be talking about that very, very soon with you in a minute. I will, yes, he will be for sure. I would highlight that the April numbers for retail sales are going to be very, very interesting, because it's the first month since the pandemic happened where we haven't had an interruption with COVID across a state. So they should be an incredible set of figures to show what a whole country will look like once we actually get to a level where nobody is interrupted. And we know that our confidence is high. We know that our spending is moving. What I will point out, though, Pete, that might be the caveat to it, is that we are still, as a nation, saving at levels that we're not used to. So although it dropped in our savings for April, we have saved since February last year as a nation and in households $212 billion of extra savings. So we are still, even though we're more optimistic, we're still likely to be saving rather than spending. So retail sales, although they'll be very strong, there is a caveat and there is a tailwind coming, because we know we are starting to stop saving. We are normally a nation of consumption. So there are a whole range of things that will be interesting to see, because April will be a very, very strong period because we didn't have a state lockdown.
Okay, Evan Lucas, as always, appreciate your time. Talk to you soon.